Very warm welcome to yet another session of communication skills, which is part of soft skills. My name is Ron and I represent the AP State Skill Development Corporation, A.P.S.S.D.C. So today is technically my day 2, and I just want to do a recap what we did on day 1 so that those who missed out on the session, they will get a clear indication as to what we spoke about on day 1. So day 1 we spoke about 4 fundamental pillars of communication. We spoke about why communication is important. We looked at a bit aspects of difference between education versus skills versus knowledge. So I use certain example to tell you why education is important, how knowledge helps you, and end of the day how skill is the most important aspect when it comes to your career. So communication as such is a very integral part of interpersonal skills, of you working in an organization, you studying in a classroom, in a college. So communication, when we speak about, it's a transmission of information, right? So let's take a look at this PowerPoint. This particular image would be familiar to those who attended day 1. So these are the 4 pillars of communication which we spoke about, and they are namely pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, and fluency. I also explained why these 4 pillars are important, how does it make an impact in your overall communication, how does it define you as a person when you start working in an organization, a corporate, it could be a private organization, it could be a government organization, doesn't really matter. How these 4 pillars are fundamental aspects of an essential communication is what we spoke about. So pronunciation pertains to sounds, the way we pronounce the sounds, the way the sounds come out of our mouth. Say for example, if I have to take one specific word but 2 different way of pronouncing it. I have a word which is class, all right. Now when I go to some parts of Andhra Pradesh, when I went to certain colleges, I primarily came across some of the students pronounce this particular word class as class. If I have a word which is father, some people have the tendency of pronouncing this as father. So when we have these kind of instances, when some words are mispronounced, it can lead to misunderstanding. I will quickly illustrate how a mispronunciation can lead to misunderstanding because it's not going to make sense. Say for example, I have the word which is leave. I'm sorry. Okay. So when we have a word leave, we have a long vowel sound, leave. Please leave the classroom once it's over. I want to apply for leave. It's that leave. I have another word which is a short vowel sound, which is live. So this is live and we have leave. So please understand the difference. One is leave, this one is live. Now some people have the problem when they replace the long vowel with a short vowel sound. When that happens, it can lead to misunderstanding. While I am speaking, I cannot say that I want to apply for live. I need to say I want to apply for leave. Likewise, one word which most people make mistakes in terms of pronunciation, which can lead to grammar problem, which can lead to understanding problem, is this particular word, C-O-N-T-E-N-T. Now how do we pronounce this? Majority of the people will say we pronounce this as content, right? Now this particular word has 2 different pronunciation. One is content and the second one is content. So remember, one is content, the second one is content. Do we have a difference between these 2 pronunciation? Yes, we do have difference. One is content, the second one is content. So one is con, the second one is con, right? Now here comes the main difference. When you pronounce this word as content, it means ingredient, it means self-satisfaction. Ingredient is when you pronounce that as content. See, even I get confused sometimes. So when I say what is the content of this particular training program, that means I am not speaking it correctly. I need to say what is the content of this training program. What is the content in this book? What is the content in this box? Which means what is there inside it. That is content. What is content? Content means being happy with yourself, self-satisfaction. Say for example, are you content with the training program so far? Are you content with your education? Are you content with the kind of teaching that happens in a classroom? That means, are you happy? Are you satisfied? That is content. Content is what is there inside, what is the index of a book. So that is content. So we make these mistakes because we are not aware of it. Now pronunciation, once you understand the entire structure of pronunciation, the concept of pronunciation, it will help you identify. The second pillar we spoke about is grammar, which is the backbone of any language. You take any language in the world, it could be a language or it could be a dialect. Dialect is a subset of a language. You take any language or any dialect, there is a set of rules. There is a set of rules in terms of word order. If this word order changes, it can lead to a problem in terms of understanding. So we have parts of speech, we have certain rules that we need to follow when it comes to grammar. Now as adults, we are all graduates right now, it's difficult to follow rules. We learned grammar by rules when we were in school, right? Now we need to learn grammar by usage. If I write a sentence incorrectly, you can identify, sir, the sentence is wrong. You may not know the rule, but you will know the usage of the grammar words. The third one is vocabulary. Now I'm just touching upon these pillars. I will go into details, don't worry about it. Vocabulary basically means how many words do you have in your mind as a substitute, or it could be an opposite word as well, and do you also know the meaning and the context of the words. Say for example, I have a word which is impact, okay. I can replace this word in a sentence where impact is not necessary. I can replace that with influence, or I can also replace that with effect, which means I have three different words. Depending on the context, I change. So this is what vocabulary is all about. Are you able to change depending on the context? Now what problem do we face when it comes to vocabulary? First and foremost, we do not know many words. Just because we do not know many words, it impacts our fluency. Because I know what I want to say, but I find it difficult when it actually comes to saying. If it's my mother tongue, it's my vernacular language, I manage to do that pretty well. But when I'm speaking in a different language, say English, since I do not have many words with me, I struggle to have a fluent conversation. How do we build that? What is the impact of a lack of vocabulary in a communication? We'll speak about all that when we get deeper into that particular aspect. The last pillar of fundamental communication is fluency. Fluency basically means your ability to speak without any glitches, your ability to speak in a very fluent manner, very smooth manner, where you are not taking too much time between what you're thinking and what you're speaking. If I ask you to speak about any topic without any preparation, you'll be very comfortable speaking the same in probably Telugu. That's your mother tongue, right? So in Telugu, you find it very, very easy to communicate. Whatever topic I give you, if you have a little knowledge, you can keep talking for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. But if I say, no, you have to speak in English, that's when you struggle, because you are thinking in Telugu and you're translating that into English and then you're speaking. So there is a time gap. When this time gap is absolutely zero, that means you have fluency. Now there are certain factors which affects your fluency. What are they? I will speak about it obviously when I go deeper into the fluency pillar. There are some aspects which can help you enhance your fluency. Again, I'll give you all those details when we get into that particular section. So day one we started with pronunciation. So if I may go back to the presentation, this is a very quick recap so that you know what we spoke about. We spoke about the communication tree, how we need a language to communicate. The language is broken into sentences, the sentences are broken into words, and words are broken into sounds. They are not broken into letters, they are broken into sounds, because if you see the header, it says oral communication. So in order to communicate orally, what do we need is sound. Then we looked at what exactly pronunciation is. It means creating a correct sound using the muscles of your mouth, and you need to emphasize on word stress, sentence stress, linking, intonation. So as we speak forward, you will get to know more and more about it. There is one particular influence on our pronunciation that comes not because of mother tongue influence. Mother tongue influence is different. I will speak about mother tongue influence when we speak about grammar, because your mother tongue influence impacts your grammar. Then what impacts your pronunciation? It's the regional influence that impacts your pronunciation, because each one of us belong to a particular region, and that's when it creates a problem. Now, why do we need to learn pronunciation? Why do we have to spend time to correct our pronunciation? I gave a very simple example the other day. So if we could go back to the presentation, there were two words which I gave, city and cat, and giraffe and gadget. And both these examples, the first letter was common. Even though the first letter was common, the sound was not common. The first letter C had a function of S. The second word C has a function of K, that is cat. Again, the third word, the G had the function of a J sound, alright, like giraffe or geography. That's another example. And the last word had the function of a G, which is gadget. So when we have the same letters, but we have different pronunciation, how do we know what is the correct pronunciation? One simple example again I can think about is, if you could look at the board, we have a word which is P-U-T, put, right? But when we replace the P with a B, this becomes but. We don't say but, we don't say put, though put is an English word, but it's a double T, so we'll not talk about it now. So the point that I'm trying to make is, the way you write a word or the way you read a word in English, what you read is not what you pronounce. If you take any other language, the way you write it, you pronounce it the same way. But in English language, it doesn't work like that. That's why English is called a non-phonetic language. So when a language is phonetic, you make the sounds the way it appears. But when we say non-phonetic, it does not sound the way it appears. So what you say is not what you spell. The spelling is different, but the way you say it, the pronunciation is quite different. Now let's move on. We spoke about how do we master the pronunciation aspect. So here we go. So this is something which we did on day one. This is just a recap, but here on the actual session starts for today. So we have 26 letters in English alphabet system. It's not alphabets, it's alphabet. It's English alphabet system. We have 26 letters, A, B, C, D till Z. Now even though we have 26 letters in the alphabet system, we have two fundamental sounds which are consonant sound and vowel sound. There are two different kind of sounds that we have. So remember, language is broken into sentence, sentence is broken into words, words are broken into sounds. How many kinds of sounds we have? We have two. one is consonant sound and one is vowel sound. These are different from consonants and vowels. We have 21 consonants and 5 vowels, but here we are speaking about consonant sound. Alright. So even though we have 26 letters in English alphabet system, we have 24 consonant sounds and 15 vowel sounds. So remember, 24 consonant sounds and 15 vowel sounds. Now what are these consonant sounds? Now if you look at the presentation now, it should be there on your screen. These are the 24 consonant sounds. So please remember, these are not letters anymore. Since we are learning sounds, these are all sounds. I will go a little slow so that you understand, and you can also practice in your classroom right now as you are watching it. For better learning, for better understanding, I would urge you to repeat the sound after me so that you know you're pronouncing it correctly. And I will tell you why this is important once we are done. So let's begin. We are starting with line 1 on the presentation. We have 6 sounds which is listed on the line 1. Can we have the presentation? I'm sure you'll get to see that on your screen. Okay. So if you have the presentation in front of you, the first one is P. Alright. So let me just write it just in case if you go back and forth. So if we have the presentation in front of you now, the first line has 6 different sounds, which is P, B, T, D, K, G. Alright. Sir, can we please have the presentation on the screen, please, from the back-end team? The presentation on the screen, please. So all the 24 sounds I have mentioned on the screen. So this will give you the entire list, but I will go one by one. Okay, there we go. We have the presentation for you. Okay, so the first one. So we will stay with the presentation. You need not look at me right now. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead. The first one is P. It's not P, it's P. Second one, B. So P, B. Number 3, T, like T, T. Next, D. Next, K. And the last one, G. So I repeat, P, B, T, D, K, G. So as I am saying it, I want you to repeat this in the classroom so that you understand this better. Alright? I am going to line number 2 on the presentation. Again, Ch, J, Th, The. So remember, it's Ch, J, Th, The. Line number 3, S, Z, Sh, J. I repeat, S, Z, Sh, J. Line number 4, F, V, W. Now there is one confusion that always happens. What is the difference between V, which is V, and W, which is W? And is it important that we know the difference and we practice? Yes, it's important. I'll tell you why. When we have the sound which is V, you are supposed to bite your lower lip. For example, if I have a word which is victory, so I bite my lower lip, victory. When I have a W, I make a O out of my lips, O. For example, water. I don't say water, so I say water. If I have a name William, so I say William, water. And if I have a V, I say victory, Victor, Vas. Alright. So when we have a V sound, you are supposed to bite your lower lip. When you have a W sound, you are supposed to make a round shape on your lips. Alright. So let's go back to the presentation. Line number 4 we are looking at. It's F, V, W, H, r. It's not r, it's r. It's a very soft sound, r. Then we have y, and the last one l. So f, v, w, h, r, y, l. The last line has three sounds only. The first one is m, the second one is n, and the third one is ng. Ng is when your tongue touches your upper palate. For example, if I have a word, I'm going back to the board so that you can see this clearly. If I have a word which is English, so I say English. So ng is one sound which we get to see here, English. So let's go back to the presentation again so that we can have a quick recap of all the sounds. I'm just going to read it, and I expect you to follow after me and repeat after me. P, B, T, D, K, G, Ch, J, Th, The, S, Z, Sh, J, F, V, W, H, R, Y, L, M, N, Ng. The last one is ng, it's a little complex sound. Now, how well can we understand these sounds? I know it's little tricky, it's little difficult to understand without looking at examples. So don't worry, I have put together a lot of examples for you guys. So if you go back to the presentation, for each of the sounds, I have listed the listed the examples on the presentation so that's easy for you to understand. So let's take a look at the first one. The first one is P. So we have an example here, pot, topple, top. Now all these three examples, there is one thing very common. The first word in the example, the sound appears in the beginning. The second word of the example, the sound appears in the middle. The third one, the sound is in the end. So I have put together examples where the sound is in the beginning, in the middle, or the end. There are certain words where the sound may not appear in the beginning at all. We may not have any words, which is fine. So first one, P, pot, topple, top. Next, B, bat, bubble, cab. Cab like a taxi, cab. T, table, bitter, pot. So like you see, the first one, the table, the t sound is in the beginning, bitter, t sound is in the middle, pot, t sound is in the end. D, desk, advice, loud. K, kite, disclose, mask. G, goat, magnify, big. Ch, chain, discharge, march. J, joint, budget, charge. Th, think, breathless, bath. This, rhythm, breathe. There are two words, one is breath, another one is breathe. When we say breathe, we use the sound. When we say breath, we use the th sound. S, seal, mistake, miss. Z, zoo, disown, breeze. Sh, shallow, location, brush. J, we don't have any words that starts with the j sound, but we do have a word where it's in the middle, like pleasure, measure, treasure, it's in the middle. And the last word is beige. Beige is a shade of brown, that's the meaning of beige. Alright. Now we go to the last set of sounds with examples. F, fun, often, tough. Some people pronounce often as often, which is fine, but still you have the f sound there. Often, tough. V, victory, level, brave. W, window, swift. We don't have any words which I could think of which ends with the W sound. Hollow, her sound, hollow, adhere. R sound, ring, market, charter. So when we have a R sound, you have to be careful. You cannot say ring, it's ring. You cannot say market, it's not market, it's market. Likewise, you can't say charter, it's not charter, it's charter. It's a very crisp short sound. Year, yard, mare, toy. Listen, island, bottle. Money, homework, groom. Number, hunter, listen. Sound, the ng sound, English, ringing, ring. Alright. So these are the examples that I have put together. Now sometimes we face problems and we'll speak about the problems soon, but let me take quick examples here. Now how do we master these sounds? Okay, it's fairly simple. Number one, keep the sounds ready in front of you. You have 24 consonant sounds, right? So keep that ready in front of you like I have it on the presentation. So you will have a ready reckoner, it's right in front of you. Take any word where you want to understand the perfect pronunciation. Now we say perfect pronunciation because we are speaking about consonant sounds only. So consonant sounds, perfect pronunciation, how do we improve, how do we learn? You have all the raw material in front of you, 24 consonant sounds. Now you need a problem to solve. What is the problem? It can be the word which you want to learn how to pronounce. Once you have the problem in front of you, the word, you need to use the raw material to make it into a product, and the product is perfect pronunciation. Let's take an example what I mean. Take any word, it could be a simple word, it could be a little complex word, say there are more than 2 syllables or 3 syllables. So let me look at the object in front of you, like you are watching this entire program on a computer. So let's take the word computer. Alright, to understand how many consonant sounds do we have, am I pronouncing it correctly, you need to pick all the consonant sounds. So how do I do that? First one is come, pu, t. So come, I say k, and then I have m. We have a k sound, remember? Even though the letter is C, the sound is k. We don't have a C as a sound, remember. These are sounds now, these are not letters for you. So we have a k sound, then we have a m sound. Computer, p. There is a short y. We say computer. We don't say computer. We don't say computer, right? We say computer. There is a y sound. There is a y there. So computer. Now this whole sound itself doesn't look okay because we are missing vowel sounds. Once we learn vowel sounds, we can fix the entire word. So don't worry about it. The reason I'm putting this into example on the board so that you can start to practice and start to understand. Some people have problems in terms of finding the right or identifying the right consonant sound and pronouncing it properly. Okay? So these problems occurs when you do not know the root of the language, root of the word, the sound, and you end up mispronouncing it. Some of the most common mispronounced words that I have come across is this particular word. I'm just going to write some of the words which people usually mispronounce. So this particular word, listen, listen. Actually, the pronunciation is listen. So we have a s sound here. So we have a l sound, s sound and n. Listen. What happens is some people mispronounce this and say listen. It's not listen, it's listen. When you say listen, you are replacing the s with a z sound, which is incorrect. So if you are speaking to a person who speaks English as a first language, he will find it little difficult to understand what exactly you mean by that. Okay? So you got to be very careful not to make a mistake and not to pick a wrong pronunciation. Another example that I can think of my head, C-O-L-L-E-G-E. How do we pronounce this? College, right? But some people have the problem, instead of, now when we have one important point, when we talk about the word college, we have the k sound, we have the l sound and j sound. The letter is G, but the pronunciation is j, college. But some people replace the j sound with z sound. They say I am going to the college. It's not college, it's college. It's a j sound, not a z sound. Okay? So you got to be careful in terms of identifying what is the correct consonant and what is the correct pronunciation for it. If we take a look at the presentation again, I have put together the common problems which I have usually come across. For example, p versus f. Instead of pollution, people say pollution. Instead of finger, some people pronounce that as pinger. Instead of print, they say frint. It's not frint, it is print. It's pollution, not pollution. They say police instead of police. So these are some mistakes. Common mistake number 2, v versus were. So remember, when we say were, you need to bite your lower lip. When we say were, you need to make a round on your lip. Were versus were, which is vision versus wisdom. S versus z, I just gave you the example, listen and listen. People make a mistake, instead of saying listen, they end up saying listen. But if you look at the second word, which is busy, B-U-S-Y, even though you have the letter S, the pronunciation is Z, busy, not busy. So don't look at the letter, focus on the sound. You need to understand that. Don't get confused between the letters and the sound. Sounds are different, letters are different. The second last one, the s versus sh problem. Some people have the problem, instead of saying social, they say social. They cannot have the s sound at all. They end up using the sh sound always, or the place where you're supposed to use the sh sound, they end up using a s sound. For example, a station, they end up saying station. Instead of saying social, they end up saying social. So sh becomes a s becomes a sh. This replacement should not happen. The last example which we have on this slide is j versus z. For example, instead of saying page, they say page. So it's not page, it's page. Instead of saying zebra, some people say zebra. Alright? Like college becomes college, zebra becomes zebra. So you got to be careful. You should not be mixing it up. Okay? So remember, we have 24 consonant sounds. Even though you spell certain words in certain way, you don't have to pronounce the same way. If you pronounce the same way you see, you will end up making a mistake. For example, we have one sound which is ch, 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 right? I have a word which is change, right? I have another word which is chemistry. I gave this example on day 1 as well. This is where we make a mistake. So, even though I have CH at both the places, the first one does carry the function of ch, but the second example it carries the function of k. We do not say chemistry, we say chemistry. Likewise, there are so many words where you may get confused how to pronounce it. So, how do you fix the pronunciation? Do not worry about it. I will tell you the magic trick how to fix the pronunciation. In this age of internet, we have something called google.com. It has all the answers, and you will be amazed to know it will also help you with the pronunciation as well. The British pronunciation versus American pronunciation. I will speak about the differences very soon once I am done with the next set. Okay? So, again recap, we have 24 consonant sounds. I gave you the examples. What I want you to do today is, now that you have the set of 24 consonant sounds, I want you to make examples out of it. Say for example, I have the m sound. Write as many words as possible where the m sound is in the beginning. For example, milk, man, motion, mission, movie. Write as many words as possible where m sound is in the middle. For example, locomotion. So, locomotion, we have m sound is in the middle, like commotion, promotion, we have m sound in the middle. And then write some words where the m sound is in the end. For example, broom, groom, room, all these words we have the m sound in the end. Likewise, you have 24 consonant sounds, and I want you to write at least 5 words where the sound is in the beginning, sound is in the middle, or sound is in the end. That way you will be able to practice, you will be able to learn. All right. So, I am moving forward with my pronunciation part. I have put together 3 slides full of words which has examples. So, if you take a look at the slide, I will give you the pronunciation of each of these words in a very slow manner so that you can practice in the classroom right now and you can repeat after me. Okay? So, you can stick with the pronunciation, you do not need to look at me right now. Let us start. Tariff. It is not tariff, it is tariff. 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 Next, dislocate. How do we pronounce this? Dislocate. Next, possibilities. Possibilities. Next, leverage. Do not say leverage, all right, it is leverage. Next, discrimination. How do we pronounce this? Discrimination. The next word, people usually make mistakes. It is not environment, it is environment. I repeat, it is environment. Do not say environment, all right, it is environment. Next, government. It is not government, it is not government, it is government. Next, plurality. I repeat, plurality. Last one on this slide, determination, and do not worry, we have 2 more slides for practice. Determination. So, let us repeat. Tariff. I want you to repeat after me. I would not know if you are doing it, but if you do it, it is good for you. Let us start. Tariff, dislocate, possibilities, leverage, discrimination, environment, government, plurality, determination. Next, apartment. How do we pronounce this? Apartment. Disagreement. Disagreement. Next, dislodge. Dislodge. The fourth one, COUP, means coup, like K-O-O, coup, that's all. What is the meaning of the word coup? Coup means when you have a democratic government, even though the democratically elected government is there, the army takes over the government. It's called military law. So that whole process is called a coup. So C-O-U-P is coup. Next, isolation. Next is isolation. The next one is quarantine. 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 What is the meaning of quarantine? Quarantine means treatment of a patient who is suffering with a disease for which the cure is not known but it's spreading. Some countries have certain disease, you don't know how to treat it, it can spread to others, so they put that patient in an isolation ward. That's called quarantine. Next is gesture. It's not gesture. Okay, never mispronounce this as gesture. It is gesture. It's a j sound, not a g sound. Gesture. Then we have against. It's not against, it's against. And the last one on this slide is abbreviation. Abbreviation means short form. So the word is abbreviation. Abbreviation. So let's repeat. Apartment, disagreement, dislodge, coup, isolation, quarantine, gesture, against, abbreviation. Next, bravery. Bravery means a person who displays courage, valor. Okay, bravery. Aromatic. Aromatic means something that smells very nice. The word aroma is used especially in terms of perfumes, in terms of flowers, in terms of food. So the word is used in that reference. Aromatic. Frequent. Sloppy. S-L-O-P-P-Y. Sloppy means slow. Sloppy. Tragedy. Miscalculation. Disintegrate. Awful. Geography. Geography. It's not geography. Don't say geography. It's geography. Geography. So let's repeat. Bravery, aromatic, frequent, sloppy, tragedy, miscalculation, disintegrate, awful, geography. All right? Few more words for practice, and the reason we are doing this practice because we don't speak in English very often, right? So in order to practice, in order to be perfect, we need to keep on practicing, and in order to practice, I'm just putting together certain words. What I want you guys to do is take an English newspaper or a magazine, anything, doesn't matter how old it is, just read words or read sentences loudly so that you can understand, you can hear your own voice very loud. All right, let's begin on the presentation. Apparel. Apparel. Apparel means clothes. All right, dresses. Apparel. Authority. Venomous. Venomous means poisonous. Venomous. I can say the snake is venomous. All right. So venomous. Quicksand. Quicksand is one word. You know what is quicksand? Some of you, those who live in coastal area, if you go near the river during monsoon, if you step into the banks of the river, you feel as if you're going inside, you're sinking, you're drowning, even though there is no water, but the sand is like liquid. It's like a thick liquid and you drown inside. It's very dangerous. That's called a quicksand. Next, suspect. The next one is suspect. Abide. A-B-I-D-E. Abide means to follow, to accept, to obey. Abide. Forbid. F-O-R-B-I-D. Forbid means to stop or to deny. Steer. S-T-E-E-R. steer. The last one is mundane. Mundane means the usual work, okay, the common work which you have to finish, mundane. It's not mundane, it's mundane. Let's repeat all these words for you. Apparel, and I want you to repeat after me. Apparel, authority, venomous, quicksand, suspect, abide, forbid, steer, mundane. All right? Few more words. Enchanting. Enchanting means very soothing. The person's song is very enchanting. Enchanting. Excitement. Humorous. Humorous means when the person is funny or something is funny. Humor means fun. Humorous. Scatter. Scatter means spread across. Scatter. Bounce. Exclusive. Scissors. If you pay attention, it says scissors. You cannot use the word scissor. It's always scissors. Please give me a pair of scissors. It's always plural. Discreet. Discreet means something which is not out and open. All right? Discreet. Upbeat. Upbeat means joyous, on the rise. So let's repeat these words. Enchanting, excitement, humorous, scatter, bounce, exclusive, scissors, discreet, upbeat. All right? So now we are done with the entire consonant sound list. We don't have any more consonant sounds. So remember, we have 24 consonant sounds, and all these sounds are used in various words. Pretty much all the words use consonant sounds. But consonant sounds need help of vowel sounds to stand. And how many vowel sounds do we have? Remember, I started my session with that. Even though we have 26 letters, we have 24 consonant sounds and 15 vowel sounds. How many vowel sounds? 15. And these 15 vowel sounds are divided into 3. So these 3 are, if we take a look at the presentation, these 3 are long vowel sounds, short vowel sound, and diphthong. I repeat, long vowel sound, short vowel sound, and diphthong. We have 6 long vowel sound, we have 6 short vowel sound, and we have 3 diphthongs. But before we do that, let's understand what do we mean by long vowel, short vowel, and diphthong. If you take a look at the presentation again, I used 3 words, and all these words starts with the same letter. So we have feel, fill, foil. I repeat, feel, fill, foil. So when we have the first word, it's a long elongated sound, feel. The second one is a short sound, fill. And the third one is a combination of long and short, which is foil. So we have 6 long vowel sound, 6 short vowel sounds, and 3 diphthongs. What are they? Let's take a look at it. So as we progress with the presentation, I would request you to take these down. So I have put together all the 6 sounds in long vowel, all the 6 in short, and the 3 in diphthong. What I want you to do now is take this down. I will pause for 5-10 seconds, no problem. I'll keep repeating the sound so that you also understand. So once you take it down, for better understanding, because what I want you to do is, let me tell you, vowel sounds are a little complex when we compare that with consonant sounds. So since you read and write Telugu, as I say these sounds, please write it in Telugu next to it so that you can understand that better. That's the best way of learning sounds. All right. So let's go back to the presentation. All right. All right. This long vowel sound, we have 6 of them: A, O, O, U, A, E. We'll stick with the presentation now, okay? Please take these 6 sounds: A, O, O, U, A, E. 6 sounds. Short vowel sounds. First one, A. Now we had a long vowel A, that's why we have A. Just like your Telugu and Hindi, it's pretty much the same. So once I say the sound, write the Telugu version right next to it, you can understand that better. So short vowel sound, let's begin again. The first one is A, the second one is A. A, for example, cat, bat, mat. All these words have the A sound. The first one is A, the second one is A. Third one, U. We had U, this one is U, all right. Then we have A, like long vowel we had A, this is A. For example, long vowel we had sail, S-A-L-E, sail. Short vowel becomes cell, all right. So A, U, E-H is A, just one I is E. Like E, long vowel, we have short vowel E. And the last one in short vowel is E-R, Now we move to diphthong. The first one is I, like sky. The second one is ow. And the third one is oi. So please take these down. I'll pause for 5 seconds and then I will repeat the sound so that you can write it in Telugu for better understanding. Okay? Alright, so let's begin. A, O, O, U, A, E. I repeat, A, O, O, U, A, E. Short vowel, A, U, A, E, Diphthongs, I, ow, oi. So these are 15 vowel sounds that you have plus the 24 consonant sounds that you learned. Now how do we apply these vowel sounds? I have put together the examples so that it's easy for you to understand. So once we go back to the presentation, for each of these sounds, I have put together examples so that you can understand this better. All right? Let's begin. A, car, dark, enlarge, marker, impart. That's from A sound. Awe, awkward, hallmark, audience, tall, like tall, ball, mall, call, all this is awe sound. O, drone, bold, ghost, lotion. It's O sound, all right? Drone, bold, ghost, lotion. Oo, troop, food, improve, proof. A, display, clay, table, wafers. E, tree, bleed, complete, obsolete. All right? Let's move on to the short vowel sounds now. The first one, A. It's above. It's above, not above. Never say above. Never say about. It's about. It's about. above, dusk, convert, impulse, aspect, advertisement or advertisement. Advertisement is most accepted pronunciation. So, is advertisement, aspect, embarrass. So, we have embarrass as sound in the middle, embarrass or embarrassment. Could, wool, incubator, pull. Head, desk, elevate, impress. Industry, drill, display, information. Infer, father, merge, terrific. All right. Now, diphthong examples: sky, imply, drive, consignment. Consignment, we have I sound, consignment. So, we have the I sound there, okay. Cloud, sprout, bound, browse. Like you browse internet, so that's ow sound, browse. Coil, employment, choice, oyster. All right. So, these are the examples. Now, let us get back to the board. I am just going to use certain examples to make it easy and for better learning. What we are going to do is we are going to take certain words, some of the examples that we saw, we can take those words. I am going to write it here and I am going to tell you how to learn a pronunciation better, what is the easiest step. It is little challenging in the beginning, but once you learn the trick, it will become easy for you. Take any word, say car, okay. Now, once you have the word, you need to break it into sounds. Now, you know the consonant sound, you also know the vowel sound. So, let us break it. Car, so we have k, a, r, car. All right. For example, I have the word which is pen. So, we have p, e, n, pen. Now, what happens if you replace the short vowel a sound with long vowel a sound. So, this is long vowel sound a, this is short vowel sound a. So, instead of saying pen, you will say pain. Pain is a different word, like P-A-I-N, pain. So, it will sound like pain. Please give me a pain. That is incorrect, right? Nobody wants to give you pain. They all want to give you happiness. So, if you replace the short vowel with long vowel sound, it can also lead to change in the meaning, change in the spelling. So, you got to be very careful how you pronounce the words. Okay? Now, let us take a word which has two syllables. For example, imply. Okay? So, how do we break it? I, m, im, p, l, diphthong, I, imply. Got it? Likewise, take any word and you will be effectively breaking that into sounds. It is not that difficult. All right. Say for example, I have a word which is aspect. Okay. Now, something is very tricky here. You will get to know very soon. Aspect. It starts with what sound? A. It is not A, it is A sound. S. So, we have a short vowel sound A and then we have a k sound, even though the letter C is here, but we use the k sound. Aspect. Why am I doing this exercise for you? I am doing this so that you can understand where you end up making mistakes in terms of pronunciation. Okay? So, in order to avoid these mistakes in terms of pronunciation, you need to have a little knowledge, the fundamentals to identify the sound and to break it. Okay? Now, before we move forward, I have put together 3-4 slides full of example words which we are going to pronounce and learn. There is one important part I wanted to talk about. Remember, I said American English and British English. What is the difference? The difference is primarily in terms of usage of words and pronunciation. Pronunciation is a major area, how the the words are pronounced differently when we speak American English versus British English. For example, if I have a word which is SEMI, okay, this is pronounced as semi. We all say semi-final, right? So, Americans don't say semi, they say semi. This I, it carries a function of E, but they replace with I. So, they say semi-final. Now, what happened in India is something very funny to an extent. Most of the companies, most of the MNCs are based out of America. That's why our language has also changed. Our eating habit has changed. If you go out to eat something, you would obviously like to eat a burger or a pizza, right? So, it's very American everywhere. It has started to impact our language as well. The reason I am talking about this is very important. We have a word okay. How do we pronounce this? Some of you may have pronounced this as schedule. Some of you would have pronounced this as schedule, right? So, let me write it. So, some pronounce this as schedule, some may have pronounced this as schedule. So, schedule and schedule. Now, which pronunciation is correct and which one is incorrect? In order to understand that, we need to understand what is the American way of saying this word and what is the British way of saying this word, and in India we follow British way of pronunciation. The British way of pronunciation is schedule. This is British way. Does that mean this is American way? No. American way of pronouncing this word is schedule, J-U-L-E, jule. Americans pronounce this as schedule. British pronounce this as schedule. But in India, we use both. We were ruled by British for 300 years. Now all the American companies are giving us jobs. So we want to make both of them happy. So we have taken half of this and half of this, and this is our Indian pronunciation, which is schedule. This is incorrect. Either you say schedule or you say schedule, but never say schedule. That's an incorrect pronunciation. Okay? So, likewise there are so many words which are pronounced differently when it comes to American English, but since we follow the British English in terms of a sentence construction, in terms of words, I would urge you to stick to just one style and not to mix it up. All right. Now, why do we got to be careful about, why do we have to be careful about not mixing it up? There is one very fundamental difference between American English and British English. If I have, now this is British English and this is American English, okay, let me divide this. If I have a sound which is aw, American English replaces that with A. Okay? And when I have the A sound in British English, American sounds become A. Like short vowel sound A. I'll give you an example, don't worry. British way of saying it is dollar. Please give me $50. Please give me some coffee. But American way of saying it is please give me $50. Please give me some coffee. They don't say coffee, they say coffee. Likewise, if I have a sound, it becomes a. For example, please come fast. They say please come fast. I can't do it. They say I can't do it. The way they speak is different, the word usage are different. There's a historical reason behind it, I will tell you some other time. But the fundamental differences in terms of the choice of words, so choice of sounds and the replacement of sounds. So you got to be careful which style are you following. If you're following British style, please stick to that. If you're following American style, please stick to that. Don't mix them up. All right? So this is about the difference. When we speak about grammar, I'll give you certain more examples how British English sounds like and how American English sounds like. Okay? So let's move forward to the presentation. We are done with the diphthong, long vowel sound, short vowel sound. Now I have put together some more words for you to practice and to understand the sounds better. All right? Let's look at it. All right, you have the presentation. I'm going to pronounce the word and I want you to repeat the words after me wherever you are. Let's start. Adequate. The first one, adequate. Next, amazement. What is it? Amazement. Attention. Attention. Attractive. Attractive. Average. Average. Buffalo. It's not buffalo, it's buffalo. Cabinet. Cabinet. Certainly. Certainly. Companion. Companion. Let's repeat. Adequate. Amazement. Attention. Attractive. Average. Buffalo. Cabinet. Certainly. Companion. Next, compliment. Compliment. Conference. Considered. Curious. Customary. Customary. Dangerous. Difficult. Dilemma. Some people pronounce that as dilemma, which is fine, but dilemma is widely accepted. So, dilemma. Exhaustion. Exhaustion. Let's repeat. Compliment. Conference. Considered. Curious. Customary. Dangerous. Difficult. Dilemma. Exhaustion. Next, glacier. Even though you have the letter C, it carries a function of a sh, like station, shampoo, sh sound. Glacier. Horizon. It's not horizon, it's horizon. Illustrate. Industry. You can also pronounce that as industry or industry, both are fine. Instrument. Instrument. Legacy. legacy, liberal, liberal, numerous. The last one, palatial. Palatial means big, like a palace. Palace, palatial, both are similar words. So let's repeat: glacier, horizon, illustrate, industry, instrument, legacy, liberal, numerous, palatial. Next, persistent, 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 reunion, reunion, substitute. What is it? Substitute, terrible, typical, disintegrate. Like integrate, its opposite, disintegrate. Misinterpretation, misinterpretation, misinterpretation. Illogical, prerogative, prerogative, prerogative. Let's repeat: persistent, reunion, substitute, terrible, typical, disintegrate, misinterpretation, illogical, prerogative. All right? So these are some of the examples that I wanted to show you so that you can practice. What I want you to do as a part of your self-learning is take up any newspaper, any magazine, take one paragraph, okay? Read it loud and word by word. If you're finding it difficult to understand how to pronounce one particular word, go to google.com, type the word and say enter. When you enter, it will give you the meaning and there will be a small icon of a speaker, like a mute button speaker. Like you on the phone, you have a speaker icon, right, on the screen. So something like that. So click on that, wear a headphone or use the speakers. When you click on it, it will give you the pronunciation. But if you do not go to any dictionary.com and if you go directly, it will give you an American pronunciation. If you want to know British pronunciation, go to oxforddictionary.com, enter the word and it will give you the pronunciation. If you want American pronunciation, you can just enter Merriam-Webster. Yes, Merriam-Webster or Webster, just say Webster dictionary, it will open it up. Enter the word, say enter and click on that particular icon, it will give you the American pronunciation. So that way you will be able to learn more effectively. You will be able to understand the British pronunciation as well as American pronunciation at the same time. It will help you understand that better. The next segment of the training would be in terms of syllable and syllable stress. Now, what do you mean by syllable and syllable stress? Very simple. I will cover this in detail in the next session, but I do want to introduce this topic to you today. Syllable means a beat of sound. A beat of sound means how many beats do we have in each word. Say for example, the word example. Example has 3 syllables. How do we know how many syllables do we have? A simple trick is to clap for every sound. For example, example, example means 3 syllables. Computer, how many syllables? 3. Computer. Keyboard, keyboard. So each beat of sound signifies each syllable. How do we understand how many syllables do we have in a word? We can find out by one easy trick which I will tell you next session. But the fundamental question here is it important for us to understand syllable and syllable stress, and why do I have to learn syllables? Very simple. If I have a word which is school, how many syllables do I have in the word school? Just try the clapping trick. We have only one syllable. School, school, right? If it's school bus, then it's school bus, 2 syllables. But in school, we have only one syllable. The problem is when you speak to somebody from states like UP, Bihar or northern part of the country, they don't pronounce this as school. They pronounce this as school. They just add a E sound in the beginning. So, school. When you say school, that means it has 2 syllables, but actually it's not. It has only one syllable. So, when you have a situation like this, you are adding a syllable here and that's why it's a mistake. Common problem that I have come across here. The number 11, right? How many syllables do we have here? We have 3. 11, 11, 11, 3, 11, 3 syllables. But we always pronounce this as 11, which means we remove this. I have 11 rupees, I'll give it to you 11 rupees. It's not 11, it's 11, 11. Got it? So, which means we are dropping a syllable. People from North India, they add a syllable when they use the word school, they say school. But here we are dropping one syllable completely. When you drop a syllable and when you are speaking to a native speaker, it can lead to a problem, it can lead to problems in terms of understanding. Or remember, day 1 I spoke about essentials of communication, I spoke about clarity of speech. So, this will impact your clarity of speech. So, you got to be careful on that front. Okay? Now, take any word, it's very easy to identify how many syllables do we have. For example, if I have the word cup, just one beat, cup, very easy. If I have to break it, I say a, p, cup. How many vowel sounds do we have here? So, this is a consonant sound, this is a consonant sound and this is a vowel sound. So, we have one vowel sound, that is why we have one syllable only. If I add the word B-O-A-R-D, cupboard, when this is a standalone word, I am saying cup and this is board. When I am bringing it together, it becomes a different meaning altogether. Cupboard means the shelf where you keep all your clothes and books and stuff in the library or at home, that is a cupboard. Cupboard has no connection with cup, neither it has any connection with board. That is a completely different word. So, when I have the word cup, one syllable. When I have the word cupboard, I have 2 syllables, bird. So, I just add, since I have the a sound here and I have a sound here, 1 plus 1 is 2. So, we have 2 syllables in this word. Likewise, there are some words where you may find multiple vowels, but you actually need to look at vowel sounds, not vowels as such. That is where the confusion happens. There is a difference between vowels and vowel sounds. Okay? So, please be very careful how you distinguish it. One example, quick example, then we will wrap it up for today. What is this word? This is vacuum. Whoever I ask what is the spelling of vacuum, they always say the spelling is V-A-C-C-U-M, which is incorrect. The spelling is V-A-C-U-U-M. How many vowels do we have in this particular word? We have 1, 2, 3, 3 vowels. How many syllables do we have in this word? Let us try vacuum. We have 2 syllables, we have 3 vowels, but how many vowel sounds do we have? So, we start with the V sound, va, k, y, oo. It's a long vowel sound. Vacuum. Vacuum. So how many vowel sounds do we have? 1, 2. But how many vowels do we have? 1, 2, 3. So don't look at the vowels. Look at the vowel sound. So in order to learn a perfect syllable and syllable stress, you also need to know the consonant and vowel sounds. So now that the video will be in YouTube, you can just check at what minute did I show you the list of vowel sound and consonant sound with examples. Make a note of it so that while you are learning syllable stress, it will be easier for you. Clear? So what did we learn today? Let's do a quick recap. Today we learnt about sounds in terms of vowel sounds, and we also did a quick recap on consonant sounds. We have 24 consonant sounds and we have 15 vowel sounds. And vowel sounds are divided into 3: long vowel sound, short vowel sounds, and diphthong. We have 6 long vowel sounds, we have 6 short vowel sounds, and we have 3 diphthongs. Diphthong is a combination of long and short. So 24 plus 15 is your entire sound family of English language. Any word that you pronounce, any sentence that you speak, if the sound does not fall under this 24 plus 15, that means you are making a pronunciation mistake. Other languages have certain additional sounds. English language does not have. Say for example, we have a sound called bh. In Hindi, bh means bhalu. Bhalu means a bear, the animal, yeah. So bh sound is there in Hindi. We have a jh sound in Hindi, but those sounds does not exist in English. So it does not exist in consonant or vowel sounds. So anything that is beyond this 24 consonant and 15 vowel sound, you are making a fundamental mistake. These sounds will help you identify the syllable and syllable stress. And what is syllable and syllable stress? Obviously, I am going to explain that to you in the next session. And the syllable stress will be important so that you don't make mistakes like content and content. If I have a word, this is the last example I am giving you today. For example, I have this word. How do we pronounce it? Most of us pronounce this as energy, right? Energy, which is incorrect. Energy is a wrong pronunciation because it does not follow the rule of syllable stress. So when we meet, I will tell you what is the correct pronunciation of this word. It's not energy. If you can find out and comment on the YouTube section, amazing. Otherwise, we'll find a way how you can ask questions. But energy is definitely not the correct pronunciation. I will leave that with you as a puzzle. So when we meet again, I will explain to you what is the correct pronunciation. Okay? So I hope the session was very helpful to all of you. We learned the entire pronunciation structure. Once we learn syllable and syllable stress, you will be able to identify and speak properly. And please remember, this learning you need to put into practice. You need to take a passage, a paragraph, start reading loud, start speaking to your friends, start speaking to your batchmates, your classmates, your friends, your lecturers, your professors, teachers. Start speaking to them as much as possible in English so that you build the courage and you get the fear out of you, because most of you have the fear, you are nervous. That will not happen if you practice and practice more. Alright, so that's about it for today. You have a great weekend ahead, and please do spend half an hour every day to learn on your own, read and understand. Thank you so much. It was lovely having you, and I will see you soon again. Have a great day and great weekend.